It does not have to be a new year, a new you. It just has to be a healthier you in the new year, you guys. Make sure you check down below in the description box where you can find the links to TLC products, including the ISOT, the Nutriverse, the Life Drops, the Resolution Drops. There are just so many things there to help you in burning fat and staying healthy. There's even the new Immune Tea, which I'm going to order. So I can't wait to try that. And I hope they get the sea moss back. But I do love the sea moss from Mint and Ocean. I'm sorry, it's supposed to be a commercial. Yes, okay? Get those TLC products from me, and do not forget that my biggest life change has been through Kiara LASHAE, Team LASHAE, ifyoucanmove.com. You guys get cute little outfits from Peja and Amari. You also check out Just Move supplements because she is helping us with the energy. Okay, this is the energy supplement. Love it. Okay, just got my protein. Gonna get me some after I work out. So yeah, y'all, down below in the description box, support. So you guys are always asking me where I get my glasses from. So I thought I would finally give y'all a real little ad, okay? Firmoo, I can't see, bitch. Okay, I'm just playing. I'm just joking. These are my new Firmoo glasses here. Super, super cute, right? They are prescription because I'm like totally blind. And I got these matte ones that I think are really dope. And I felt like they would go good with the fact that I no longer have hair. You know what I'm saying? But either way, you guys can use my link and give me credit and get you some glasses from Firmoo. Come on in, come on in, come on in, not come on in, not come. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know I'm weird. Whatever.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Bondi Blue. So let's go ahead. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Bondi Blue. Okay, follow me on Instagram and let's get into the video. Right?
Da 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 da. Da 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 da. All the moves with them shots and yes. Then you got blue beats falling out your glass. Old man don't want you in the club, cause you put the poppin' starting fights in the club. You come through in your rental car, bitch, you so everybody know you a star. You come with 4 or 5 who's starting to fight anything straight out the door. They say you acting kinda funny, acting kinda. I heard you popping for that money, popping for that. They say you looking for a baller, looking for a baller. Girl, and let me. I'm so glad I got my own. I ain't worried about Josephine. My life is a natural high, so come and bunny high with me. What's up, y'all? I'm sorry, that was on my spirit when I first came on here. You gotta make sure both hands on the floor. I'm sorry, that was in my spirit. And I felt like if it uplifted me in the moment, it may do the same for you. What's up? We're back. We're back for Weekends on Own with me, Bondi Blue. All right. So, yes, thank you to everyone for coming back. Okay. I've already done Growing Up Hip Hop and Love After Lockup. So if you have not seen those, look for those. I'm also going to put out my schedule today for the rest of the week when I am done with this video. Just so y'all know, I know some people are not abreast to the videos. Y'all are not getting notifications. And I am kind of like getting annoyed. And I really wish there was another way for me to reach everybody. Because whenever they talk about text groups and all of that shit, it's only like a small amount of people. For a whole bunch of money. And I got like 80,000 of you motherfuckers. I want to send it to everybody. I don't want to just send it to some people. Whether you watching every video or not, there are at least like 20,000 of y'all that I feel like I should be sending these notifications out to as soon as I'm about to go live. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I usually post on Instagram before. I'm going to make a habit of that, but I'm going to put out a schedule. That schedule will be on Instagram. That schedule will also be here on YouTube. So from now on, y'all just check in on Sundays for the schedule. Okay, we'll do it like that. Okay, so I have to look at the shows. That's why I said I have to do it after this video, so I can't let y'all know exactly what's going down in the upcoming week. But come back later, and I'm gonna have a post on here with the schedule. Okay. All right. Oh, you're liking my light? Thank you. Okay. So we're going to start off this episode of Weekends on Own with Family or Fiance. That's what we're going to start with. Okay. This was a very interesting episode to me. I totally understood this because, as I have expressed to you guys before, my father was definitely like a disciplinarian. He was not in the military, but you would have sworn that he was, based off how clean he was and how clean he expected everybody else to be. Don't half-ass anything. When you do it, get it done, do it right. I'm not waiting all day. I said, do it now, okay? And if you have an attitude with me, you might get hit. Okay, so just do what I'm telling you to do, and that's that. So that's how I was raised. And even though it's harsh, I feel like it taught me a sense of responsibility, that it doesn't matter if I'm tired. It doesn't matter if I don't feel like it. There are things that have to get done, and they will get done because they have to get done. And that's just that. It doesn't matter how I feel about it. And that's what that type of mindset teaches you. So I understand when men feel like they're instilling responsibility into their children by taking that standpoint with the way they raise them. But there's also a negative to that. And it really does go all the way back to slavery, because you have to understand the psyche of a group of people that are being abused and traumatized as a way of life. Once they're out of that way of life, they still have the same traumatic experiences attached to them. There's still negative energies, the energy that in order to get things done, someone has to be physically abused or berated. Like, we were taught that because we were handled in that way. So a lot of us are raised in some way, shape, or form based off of mindsets and based off of things that occurred during slavery. Okay, it really is just the facts of it. People do not like to dig that deep. They don't want to bring it all the way back there, but that's the truth of the matter, which is why I get so annoyed when people try to make women, Black women, seem masculine in an environment that constantly abuses us and traumatizes us. You don't abuse people in this way and then expect them to be impervious. They're going to have dents and bruises and evidence of what has been done to them. And the evidence that is, what has been done to us over the years, a lot of the times is the mindsets and the negative ideologies that we hold on to, because sometimes it feels like all we have is what we've learned and our traditions and what we feel like works. But what we have to understand is that as time goes on and more information is now at access, now we have more information. We understand more what happens when you take abuse as a way of raising children, or just doing the absolute most in order to get a reaction out of your kids because you don't want them to end up this way. But you in part brutalize them, and when they are then not in control of their emotions, you then punish them for that. But you don't teach them how to be in control of their emotions because you're not in control of yours, because nobody's taught you how to be in control of your emotions. Thank you, Naturally Dope, for the super chat. Hey, Bondi, you keep me in the know and makes my day go by fast during my work week. Thank you so much, love. I appreciate that. Post-traumatic slave disorder in a way. Absolutely. Absolutely. Some of these things are so like drenched in how we understand things that it's so hard to unlearn it. It's so hard to like unwrap it, because a lot of our experience is keep on moving. Don't stop. No. Keep pushing. Don't sit with your feelings. Don't feel anything. Don't have feelings, which is the most preposterous thing to ask of a human being, because all we do is feel. Whether we are feeling externally or internally, we are constantly in a space of feeling. So to ignore those feelings, to me, goes against what is human. You need to understand your emotions. You need to understand your feelings, and you need to know how to handle them. You don't need to push them under and act like they aren't happening. And I think that's very much what we've been taught as a way of survival, and then just in repetition and muscle memory. Okay, so this episode was very indicative of how David grew up with his mom. Okay, his mom is right here. That's his cousin. That's his son. All right. His mom is emotionally detached. She was not raised in a way to be emotionally supportive. I understood what that was like because my dad was like that. And I understood that he was intelligent enough to realize that that wasn't a good thing, but it was physically and emotionally hard for him to change. And I understood that because when he would try to be affectionate towards me, I would be like, Dad, stop. And I would feel like that because he wasn't very affectionate. And so over the years, whenever he would come, affectionate, it'd be like, stop. Because it's always when you drunk and you feeling all good and stuff, and then you want to hug and come here, give me a kiss. You want to, be affectionate, because he recognized that he was not affectionate or very emotional in his approach to raising children. And as he got older, I feel like he realized that was the issue, and he would try to curtail it, but it was still energetically and emotionally hard to do. Okay, so I totally understand why the mother is this way, and then now he's this way. And he knows that he shouldn't be, but it's hard to change that because you don't have it to give. Somebody has to give you the emotional depth. Somebody has to give you the emotional understanding yourself in order for you to be able to give that to somebody else, which is why Kim is so important to him in his life right now. And y'all, at the beginning of this episode, I was Kim, sorry. Kim. I was really annoyed with her because I could see the mothering that she was doing to him. And even though I feel like that was annoying me, I still felt like it was what he needed because he was not given it by his actual mother. But the problem is when she decided to start mothering him, she stopped mothering this one. Or he felt that way. That's her youngest son, Connor. This is her sister, Katina, I believe. And this is her oldest son, CJ. Okay. So David comes into the situation. They got engaged after 6 months. They both worked at the same high school. And then they have been together 4 years since the engagement. And I think when he came into the situation, the oldest son was 18. The youngest son was, what he said, what is he, 16 now? So he was 12, I believe. That's what I think the age difference is. So he was like 12. So David has been there for a nice little bit, but the relationship is very bad. And it's because David came in like a bulldozer. He came in seeing a single mom with 2 grown sons, in his opinion, that she was babying. And I do believe to some extent she absolutely was babying them. Okay. But ultimately, it forced CJ, the oldest, out of the house because David suggested his old ass move out. And I felt like, yeah, like he should stand on his own 2 feet as a man. Like, yeah, he absolutely should. But again, that shouldn't be a situation that is just pushed upon him because mommy decided to get a boyfriend. Like, I don't feel that way. Okay. And then Connor, the youngest, feels like, he doesn't know how to handle them and he doesn't know how to relate to them. It's all about comparing them to his children. This is his son. Now, mind you, David has 5 adult children that he has raised, that he has been there. His son said he was a good dad. He was always there and he prepared them for life. 20 may not be grown, but it is not a child, and it's a very important time in your life. And if you are allowed to not have to really do anything, that will be a continuous attitude. And I find that single mothers of sons baby their sons. That's why I feel that way. Okay. If I could be on my own at 19 as a young woman in college and working, a 20-year-old man can do the same. I'm just saying. I'm not always saying that is the what you should do, because there are some grown ass men who live at home with their parents and provide in some way. Okay, they're there to help in some way. Like, that's fine. Every situation is not the same. But I also feel like when you allow your grown ass kids to live in your home, there is a level of babying that is happening because they don't have to fully stand on their own 2 feet. Because you're in some way supplying them with a roof over their head. You're probably paying most of the bills, and they just get to use their money as they see fit. So they're not actually getting the experience of adulting yet. And so when they are forced to be an adult, if that ever happens, because some of y'all will let these kids live in y'all house for fucking ever. Y'all can act like that's not indicative of a mindset on these men, but it is. What women want to marry and be with a man who still lives at home with his mother? I'll wait. Like, that's usually a red flag for most women. So I don't want to hear that, because 20 isn't grown, that he shouldn't be expected to be out here in the world on his own if he is able-bodied and able to do so. Sometimes, but that's only if your child, sometimes it gives them time to invest, get grounded on their career. I get that, but that's only sometimes. And I really do feel like it's a very fine line between providing that space for them and creating a space that makes them feel like they don't have to really try. It's too fine of a line. And I'm not saying that from, out of my ass. I'm saying that from actually seeing it happen in families all the time. When the kids, they get out of high school, they don't have any real direction, and because they're able to just stay at home and not have to really have direction, they just stay at home. Child, listen, I know so many uncles that don't do shit. I know so many adult kids that sit at home and do nothing. And then the sibling that does live outside of the home has to come to the house to cut the grass or clean shit up because the one that lives there isn't actually required to do anything. Like, I've seen this a lot of times in so many different ways, y'all. Like, I'm really a firm believer in push them out there to take care of themselves. And ultimately, if situations call for it, yes, don't let your kids sleep under the fucking bridge. But also don't allow for them to get so comfortable in your home that they don't feel a need to get out of it, because I think it fosters a childlike sensibility that is not conducive to being a grown adult and eventually having your own family and taking responsibility for yourself and other people. I have a 32-year-old nephew who does nothing but live off my sister. Yes, every child is different, but I'm just saying, y'all, this is my opinion. Okay. But I feel like Kim was definitely putting her sons in a space of babying them. Like, I really do feel like that. And I feel like David just came in way too hard. And there should have been a level of getting to know them and then kind of befriending them first, understanding the type of people that they are, and then moving from that space, because everybody doesn't require the same medicine. Okay. Everybody doesn't need the same type of energy. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I didn't need the same type of energy that my sister needed. All you had to do was tell me what the fuck to do, and I was going to do what you told me to do. You didn't need to like punish me. You didn't need to scream at me. And sometimes that happened anyway. But I didn't need a lot of the coaxing and shit that my siblings might have needed. And I just feel like everybody needs something different, but at the same time, there are some things that just reign true. And when somebody is coming into their adulthood, a part of that is being pushed out to fly and catching yourself. That's a part of it. Quaisha, thank you for the super chat. I live with my mom, but always made it a mission to step up and take part of the responsibility where it's asked or not. And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that. Okay. That's why I said everybody's situation is different, but there is a mentality that I have noticed when single mothers baby their fucking sons. I'm sorry, ma'am, but y'all do that. Y'all baby the shit out of y'all sons. And I feel like she was doing that with these boys. And that's just my opinion on that. Okay. Now let's move on because we've been talking about that for too long. This sister Katina found out that David came in and as a disciplinary act removed the doors from CJ and Connor's room. That was a bit much for her. She was upset. And when she came into the house, she was dry. And, you know, that was a real issue for her. And until the dinner, that kind of just stayed on her. So when, you know, they were asked for their blessings and everything, of course, everybody is saying no. Well, really just expressing that they want David to work on his anger issues, specifically his mother. His mother basically took the words out of Katina's mouth. She didn't have to say anything because his mom said, I've dealt with you with anger and I really want you to get that under control and all of this. Okay. So obviously we understand David needs to get control of his anger. Kim is somewhat of, y'all, at first I was like, is she even present? Like, where is she? Because I feel like her children are having this very visceral reaction to this. And she's just kind of like, well, it is what it is. Like, what's going on? You know, like, it'll be fine. There was something about Kim that was very annoying to me. And I understood that the lights weren't on for both of them. There were some things that Tracy really had to explain to them that they could not see. And sometimes I forget that people don't see their own shit. It's always on the outside looking in where, you know, everybody can see what the whole situation is. And I could see that Kim was very much babying David and trying to fix what was broken inside of him. And because of that, in some way, neglecting her children's emotions. I also feel like she probably was scared that she had created children who were going to be codependent on her. They were grown, you know, they're getting grown to become grown men. And I think she allowed him to come in and do the things that he did because it was something she felt that needed to be done. And she didn't know how to do it herself because she is the nurturer. Okay. And she's, you know, that's just what the situation is. It's hard for a woman or a mother or one parent to be what is really required of two parents. That's why you have to have like one parent that's a disciplinarian and one that's a little bit softer so that you can create a balance instead of one person having to give all of this all the time. It's just harder to do. But either way, when the mom and her, you know, the cousin and his son were in the kitchen, she expressed that David has disrespected her many times and he has never apologized for the disrespect. Okay, he just gets quiet and he has this temper and he holds on to things, and it's just definitely something that they have to deal with. So at dinner, this is when Kim's sister apologizes for her attitude, and we get into the door and how harsh that was. And she didn't understand that the sister, Kim, was in on the door situation. So it's like you can't really just be mad at David because she's allowing this. Okay. When the mom decides that she wants to take that moment to express how she feels about David, y'all, David got quiet and kind of zoned out for a minute. And he wasn't even saying anything. And she was like, you know, that temper that he go getting upset. And I felt like she was gaslighting him. I felt like David was actually trying to have a conversation with his mom where he expressed his feelings when she put that out on the table that she constantly feels disrespected, right? So as soon as he went to respond to her in a way that was calm, she kept over talking him and saying that he wasn't going to continue to walk over her the way he had in the past. And when he keeps asking her, can I just talk? Can I just talk? You can tell that there have been many times when he's tried to express himself to his mother and she is not listening. She is not open. She is not there. Then we got Kim running out because Connor felt away at the table and got up and walked away. He expressed that he's just waiting on 18 so he can get the fuck out of their house. Okay. And then he walks away and Kim goes after him. And then when she hears this moment, she comes running out and instantly she's rubbing and massaging. And I was so annoyed by that. I understood that she was trying to keep him calm, but I also felt like he is a grown ass man and you should not have to do all of that in order for him to be in control of himself. I did not like that. Something about that bothered me, that she felt the need to do all of that. You know what I'm saying? While his mom kept gaslighting him. I thought it was very telling of what that relationship really is like. Okay. So when they talk to Tracy, they understand that David is handling the kids based off of how his mother handled him. Okay. So, and y'all know their relationship is very contentious. Kim needs to realize that her sons feel like she's choosing David over them. And now she's mothering David more than she's mothering Connor, who really requires it because he's the teenager at home. Tracy showed them that Kim has allowed David to take away the boundaries that her son had in place before he got there. And him taking the door off the hinges was the perfect example of that. And I didn't think it was that bad either because my dad took the fucking electricity out of my room one day. All of that is way too much. All of that is way too much. And I would hope to never feel the need to handle my kids in that way, because what the fuck is that supposed to do? Okay, that, I mean, if y'all knew why he did that, that was just like the most insane response, like whatever. Anyway, so I understand where the kids are coming from, but David gets very, very emotional at this point when they're talking to Tracy. And he has to go outside and kind of collect himself. And it's kind of like a fight or flight situation. But he comes back in. And when he comes back in, Tracy explains to him that they're healing wounds from slavery. They're healing wounds from being traumatized and abused as a people. And our universal consciousness of what this experience in this world has been like for us. Y'all, we carry that. Like the ignorance of ancestors is so alarming to me because it is where we find strength as a people. And we don't even realize that we do it. The reason why we all understand slavery, racism, and all of that the way we do is not always because we've been taught it, but because we just have an understanding of it. There is a moment when you were a child, when you understood that you were Black and what that meant. And then all of a sudden, from then on, whenever things happen, it's kind of like, yeah, kind of knew that already. Yeah, kind of understood that already. Kind of had that in my head already. And it's because we have an overall understanding from each other, from our ancestors, from our universal consciousness as a people, to what we have been through. And a part of that is holding on to the pain of it as well. And that's why it's important to unwrap those things and understand the brutality. That's why it is not good for Texas to not teach y'all about slavery and tell you that the Ku Klux Klan was not a hate group and all of this ignorant shit that they're doing, because the lack of knowledge about it is to quiet it, is to silence the ancestors, it is to put our history quiet, and then in fact these things can repeat themselves. Okay, like that's the truth of it. Okay, it takes our power away when we are no longer in the truth of what has happened. Okay, so, and I want y'all to understand that, because they also did that. That's what the stripping away in slavery, the taking away of our names, our language, how we wore our hair, the making us feel as if we were no longer separate as tribes, but we had to all be one as Black people, and then adding all of these degrading qualities onto that. It was a stripping that happened. So it's a lack of knowledge. So they took things from us. So whenever we try to regain those things by saying, okay, this happened, this happened, this happened, and documenting it as it has happened to us, we gain strength. And they are bothered by that. So they're always trying to rewrite history to make themselves look better. They're always trying to extract certain things because they don't want it to be known, the real brutality, because there's so much power in knowing your history and being aware of who you really and truly are and how extensive it was. Like, y'all need to like really understand how extensive it was to strip entire tribes of people from their identity as a whole. And now we're hundreds of years later, and the only way to identify where we come from and who we are is by DNA testing sometimes. That's the only connection we have. That separating is a great loss to who we are as a people, and why we find it hard to come together, why we find it hard to maintain, because we are in a system that is rigged against us, that was built to strip us of everything that empowers us. Okay. And we have to continue to live in said system. Like, it's crazy as fuck when you think about it. And it affects us on such a minute and large level that people find it exhausting and they don't want to deal with it. So they just kind of push it under the rug. But the truth of the matter is, all of that shit affects how we raise our kids, how we relate to one another, how we feel about one another. When y'all, oh, black people always want to go in on other black people. What are you talking about? We were taught brutality against one another. We were pitted against one another. Like, there was so many ways and so many things that are put out there and taught of us to have dissension, that it is amazing when we actually do come together and have wholeness in who we are at some level. Do you hear me? Okay. So when David sits down with his mother, Tracy explains how hard it is for him to sit next to her and be honest about how he feels, right? And as a mother, she needs to be able to hold this space for her child to express and deal with his pain, even if she caused it. I thought that was amazing, because that's another thing when I tell y'all putting your bullshit aside for the kids, is understanding that your job as a parent is sometimes to hold your children and to accept them in a space of expressing their true feelings without being a victim in the moment. Because you literally are the cause of their feelings sometimes, so you can't be the victim, okay? And you know, he explains the pain of what he's gone through, and she explains how emotionally she was not there for him. She did not show up for, you know, his games and these things. He would throw medals away because he felt like they didn't matter, because she was not there to share in the moment. Even in the way she expresses herself, she's expressing herself, but you can see the disconnect in emotion and her mental. You know what I'm saying? There's a disconnect there, and she passed that down to him. And he got so emotional because he was like, I wanted a different type of relationship with my children. And I knew what they needed. And I still did the exact same fucking thing that you did to me. And y'all, when he said that and he was so emotional, y'all, that touched me. That touched me, but that made me feel so hopeful, because there are so many people that will never come to that conclusion, that will never have that aha moment to realize I am making a mistake by walking in my parents' footsteps in this way. Our parents do some things great, and we should follow their examples. And in some things they don't do that great, and we should learn from those mistakes and do what is best. Okay. And so I feel like him having this moment of understanding that his mom went through that with her parents, and then she passed that down to him. He has to now heal it and fix it so that his children don't pass it down to their own children. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like at this moment, his relationship with Kim becomes so much more positive and healthy for everybody involved, because she's emotionally capable of understanding him, and then also, like, I feel like fixing her issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, I in that moment I was like, okay, their relationship can now be in a healthy space. But he wants to be better, and that made me feel good. So they have a family meeting with everyone so David can apologize, and he apologizes for the way he came at the kids and not holding their hand through teaching them, versus coming at them, you know, with this is who y'all should be, and now I'm going to make y'all this regardless of how y'all feel about it. You know, the kids accept his apology, but they still want to see action, and it's hard to get past those things that have already taken place. But at the end of the day, David did apologize, and he told Connor he totally understood how he felt, because when he was a teenager, he left home and didn't come back for 10 years as well. And y'all see, he didn't even want to see his mama. Like, so he definitely understands how Connor feels and wants to fix it, and he promises to do that. And I think it was also great that his own son was there and able to take part in that, because even though he feels like his dad was a good dad, he was also very honest about his anger issues and how he could come off so strong. So David also had to address how he raised his own kids. It was just a beautiful healing moment for me. And then to see that everyone gave their blessing and that the relationships are getting better after the fact, that made me feel really good, because ultimately Connor and CJ are made better because David cares about them. I'm just saying, like, people can say what they will, but there is going to be a moment, hopefully, in life when these two young men need a father figure to go to. And David can provide that to them because ultimately he has been there for his 5 grown children. Okay. And not to compare them, but to just say, like, it's indicative of his care for his children and his care for them. He even said, like, there is no Kim without, CJ and Connor. So I appreciated that sentiment. He just has to correct his own issues. But when he said he was walking around fucked up, acting like everything was okay, I said the fact that this man had the emotional capacity to say exactly how he was feeling in these moments, I feel like was such a teller that things have to get better just because they did in that moment. You know what I'm saying? It was a good episode, y'all. These young men will never respect him because he wants husband father rights, but won't even marry their mother, and I don't blame them. Well, I mean, they're here to get married. They're going to get married, I believe, right? That's the whole point, is to get married, but they also need it for things to, be in a better space, I feel. I hope that's not true. I hope that they, won't ever respect him, because I feel like he may have issues, but I feel like he is deserving of respect because I think it's coming from a place of caring and not from a place of wanting to abuse the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference. People need to alter the way they do things, yes. But the fact that he even cares, I feel like that should count for something, because there are so many men who come into women's lives and don't give a fuck about their kids. I think he did, and they just didn't show that part because the son said that he was also able to, have that conversation with his dad during that time. He said that. So I just feel like they probably didn't show it. Her kids reminded me of, hold up, I'm sorry. Her kids reminded me of Trina Braxton boys. Yes. And I feel like, didn't we all see that there was a level of babying there? I will say that I hope there was a conversation that David had with his son, because I said that. Definitely. I think he's probably going to have that conversation with all of his kids, but that was an overall to everybody situation, because I think his son, like his son said it in the confessional, the mother and father are in a trash situation and her sons no longer respect either one of them. It's not that complicated. I mean, that's a dark, fucked up way to look at it. That's fine, I guess. Like, okay. I liked how him and her sons were able to intelligently express their feelings. Yes, me too. I did too. I didn't like how Kim let David take the rap as the bad guy, although it may have been harsh. His intentions were good. Yeah, I felt that way too. Like, she was like just letting him take the fall versus, saying that I also want y'all to get the fuck out of my house. Like, they are grown. He not their father or related to them at all. They can have a friendship, but that's it. That's your opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's your opinion, but I feel like that's a closed mindset to have. At the end of the day, yes, they can have a friendship, but to think that it won't come from a father figure place, I feel like that's just not realistic. Like, they're not going to be friends like that, because they're different ages. And I do feel like he has something to offer them as young men, whether they want to admit that, y'all want to admit that, like, I'm sorry, but I feel like there's a level of negativity that y'all have in these comments that I am just like, okay. All right. I'm feeling positive about it. Okay. Because ultimately I feel like he's not like a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think just needed a talking to, needed some understanding, like a lot of people do. And I hope the situation with the kids changes. But ultimately, like, was the 20-year-old supposed to stay in the house forever? Like, y'all can get off me with that, because I'm not gonna agree. Let's move on to put a ring on it, y'all. Lesser issues, okay? So we say, child, put a ring on it. I enjoyed the episode, but I'm just kind of like, oh, child, Alexia and Darian are just not together anymore. Like, it just feels that way. It feels like they're not together anymore. Thank you so much, Tiara, babe, for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Tina, I feel like, yeah, okay. I thought I was tripping. Hey, okay. I think Kim detachment comes from her being a counselor. She doesn't know how to switch it on at work and off at home. Thank you for the super chat, and I agree with that. And that was irking me. That was irking me about her. Like, bitch, tap in emotionally. Tap in, okay? I think David is doing the best he can with what he has been given. I don't think he's a bad guy at all. Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. So yeah, y'all, I'm moving on now. Let's do it. Put a ring on it. So Darian goes to get Alexia out of the car because as if you can recall last episode, okay, Alexia said, you're going on another date with Kai? I can't take this shit. I'm going to sit in the car. So she went sat in the car. Okay, she needed a moment. And he's like, I don't understand what your problem is with this girl. And it's like the fact that you keep saying that, you're gaslighting her. And I feel like when y'all talk about how y'all fight dirty, this is that shit. Because you know good and goddamn well, this is not about that old heavy booty ass Kai. This is not about her. It's about you and the way you are handling this situation as if you can't wait to go and put your thing in another bit, okay? And this lady is trying to have marriage and kids, and you are acting in opposition of that. So yes, that is scary and very bothersome for her to come to the conclusion that the man she was trying to have marriage and children with just wants to be out here acting like a hoe. Okay. They come back inside. Dr. Nicole tells Alexia that she needs to manage her emotions a little bit better because he is in this process to make his own decisions. And she needs to get to a place where she can accept that for what it is instead of allowing it to take her out of character. Okay. Use it and worry about yourself instead of always worrying about how he feels, which is very hard to do as a woman when you have been in a long-term relationship with a man. Okay, or with anyone, period. But you know what I'm saying, okay? LaRonda seems to be bothered that Sean wants to go on another date with Brittany. And she's worried because apparently Sean has never been faithful in any of his previous relationships. I said, not the nigga who is crying and doing push-ups and throwing up peanut butter sandwiches. What? Really, Sean? That's you? Oh my God. Okay. I didn't realize that. She felt disrespected. Okay. But Sean goes on his third date with Brittany. And she met up with him and made the sacrifice to not go on her tour bus, but to drive herself 3 hours away to Florida, I guess, so that she can have her performance that day. So she is putting in time and effort to date Sean. And Sean was giggling and smiling and showing us his incisors and just really feeling Brittany in the moment. Okay. They were vibing. Okay. But yeah, he's playing with his life right now. That's what he said. He's like, I am playing with my life right now. I'm thinking about doing something I shouldn't do. I should probably pull it back. That's what he was feeling. Okay. But yes, their little date was cute and she was flirting and she was like, listen, if you trying to then you can you know. But you know, that I just feel like we're gonna have to let that go. That was cute and all of that, but that's not what's happening, okay? So y'all, Darian, he and Alexia to apologize to each other because she can't handle the honesty of him wanting another date with Kai. She says that she thought that she was his first priority and now she's finding out that she was wrong. And she says, you know what? I don't even want to further discuss this, Darian. I'm going to go and get ready for my date. I want to go enjoy my date. I want to worry about my motherfucking self. I don't want to take this moment to have an apology, situation with you because Kai doesn't feel like she has anything to really apologize for. And that was the truth of the matter. So Alexia goes on her date. This nice looking young man over here in this corner. Okay. His name is Monty. He had very nice energy. Much better than previous dates. but I also feel like it's because, for one, they were playing basketball. So Alexia was in her element. She was having fun, and they were able to focus on them instead of focusing on Darian. And I think she was also in a space of, fuck him, I'm about to enjoy myself. So that's what she did. Okay, just the cards were aligned for Monty and Alexia to have a moment. Okay. So Darian talks to Dr. Nicole because he feels like, these little simple dates is causing all of this issue in his household. And, Alexia will be playing so tough. She's so tough and everything. But then when he go out on the dates, she's all bothered and he's trying to see through the toughness. And Dr. Nicole says, well, maybe she's not playing tough. Maybe she does have to protect herself, okay? And if you don't want her to put up barriers and boundaries and borders to protect herself from you, then you need to create a safe space for her, okay? So that she can break those barriers down, all right? And basically, stop bullshitting with yourself. Stop bullshitting with yourself, Darian. Understand what you say and what you do that is bothersome to your woman, and either change your actions or let her go. But don't continue to know that you are hurting her or bothering her in some way, and then continue to act that way as if she's just supposed to deal with that. Like her feelings in y'all relationship doesn't matter. Like that's what I feel like she's feeling right now. And the way you move tells her exactly that. Yeah, he's really all into it and everything when he's talking and everything, okay? But Darian goes out on another date with Heavy Booty Kai, and I forgot to put a picture of her up here, but that's okay because I believe it was the last date. I don't believe it was the last date. I feel like he's going to do some behind the scenes shit with Kai if he has not already. Tell me, do y'all think he fucked Kai already? Because I think he did, okay? I definitely feel like he done something with Heavy Booty Kai in order for him to be in this space, in order for her to show up and tell him that she needs to understand what his feelings are. She was basically asking for him to pick a side, and he didn't like that. He wants her to just respect the situation. And she says, you're trying to respect the situation that doesn't respect you. And I'm like, to be very clear, that lady has not done anything, and I'm talking about Alexia, has not done anything to disrespect this nigga. He has disrespected her with the way he has been so open-handed with your ass, okay? And if he was your man and he was out there doing all of the things he's done with you, you would find a problem with it as well. So to sit up here and continue to act as if Alexia is the issue here, I find it problematic, thirsty, and rather pathetic on both of your parts. Okay, that's how I saw it. I'm sorry, you do not have to act like it's that lady's fault because this nigga is a dog and you want his dog ass. Okay, I'm sorry, that's how I see it. Okay. And then she says that he always considers Alexia's feelings, but not hers. And he says, well, I love her. And Kai says, you can love her from afar. Kai says she is not there to be his help in this matter. And whether he sees, whether he sees it or not, the grass is greener and he needs to figure out what he gonna do. He don't like the pressure. He does not like the pressure at all. At this moment, Kai has no longer made this fun for him. This was all well and good. This was all super duper fun when there was no pressure and everything was light and heavy bootied. Okay. So yeah, I felt that he didn't go on another date with Kai. At least that's what he said in the confessional. Later on, he said he didn't want to go on another date with her and then put it on Alexia. I wasn't sure whether that was true or not, because I feel like he didn't want to go on another date with her because he didn't want her to continue to pressure him into more than he was willing to give, because he's already getting that from Alexia. But y'all say, yeah, he probably done fucked her. Yeah. I think so too. So Jessica goes on a date with this new guy named Sean. And they do one of my favorite things. They go and take shots of tequila. We find out that he sells luxury real estate, so he has money. And we all know that Jessica loves to hear a nigga got money, okay? They vibing, and she's extremely comfortable. He has 2 girls, just like she does. This is the first time that I'm hearing she has 2 girls. I guess they mentioned it and I forgot. I don't know. Dr. Nicole then has like a moment with them later. She enjoyed her date, y'all. She really liked him, but I didn't get much of the conversation. For some reason, I never get much of the conversation when Jessica goes on dates. It's just kind of like smiling and flirtation, and then however she feels in the confessional. She enjoyed herself. Dr. Nicole speaks with Eric and Jessica privately, and we talk about how at one point their trust issue happened with Jessica when he fell off. Okay, Eric, I guess, got hurt or retired, whatever the situation was. He was no longer an athlete, and that was difficult for him. Y'all hear about this all the time. When the athletes retire and they're no longer who they were, they have a hard time dealing with that as a person. And she felt like he was taking it out on her, the anger that he had. She didn't communicate that to him either, though. She talked to another athlete thereafter. Okay, she talked to some other guy, and that made Eric feel away, like she was only messing with him for the money. So when he no longer was in that position and she go and find her another athlete, you know, you just went and fucked on some other guy because I fell off. And she's like, well, I'm here with you now. We're together now. Okay. I don't even talk to that guy anymore. And he was like, well, yeah, he popped up on your FaceTime. And she was like, he called me from an unknown number and I'm not talking to him. I'm trying to make shit work with you. I feel like she might still have homeboy on the line just in case. I do feel like she loves Eric and wants things to work out because she's put in all of this work with him and everything. But I don't feel like they need to be together, y'all. I don't. I feel like it's hard for people to get over when they are on the down end of something and the person that they thought would be there for them kind of disappears on them. But I also understand that he probably was emotionally abusive to her during that time, because I see the way he acts, you know, on the show. Like, you see the way he acts when he doesn't get his way or when he's feeling away on the show. Even when they were talking about it, I read the energy he gave her, and it very much felt like there was no understanding. And if I recall, at the beginning of their relationship, he did a lot of cheating on her. And so the fact that he even is allowed to throw a fit right now is just so ridiculous and hypocritical to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, yes, Jessica has mentally and emotionally checked out of that relationship. And I think yes, Eric is punishing her. Y'all are taking the words out of my mouth right now. She needs to leave. She needs to leave and go find somebody else. And he needs to figure out who he is. Okay. And what I mean by that is get that hairline together, because it's like it's outlined, but nobody finished it. And I'm upset about that. In every episode we see it and we be like, Eric, why are you doing this? Like, fix this. Like, it's not okay. You know, just because you have the baby bangs doesn't mean that the hair is still there. Like, make it stop, you know? But you know what? It's okay. It's okay. It's obvious that he can't get over the fact that she went and messed with that dude. Dr. Nicole says that they are split right now and they need to fix what is going on with them and break up on those terms. But don't break up at a level of being pissed off at one another because of this issue, because y'all will probably end up coming back to each other once y'all stop being mad or upset about this situation. It won't really have the real resolve. What's the real problem? What's the real issue? Because that's not really it. The real thing is that you don't feel like she is actually who you want to be with at this point in your life. When you were a baller and it was all cool to have a trophy for a woman, this was great. But now that you're getting older, you probably feel like you want somebody with more depth and who you feel like isn't all about money. And that's how you feel about Jessica. So instead of letting her go, y'all don't want the other person to be with anybody else. So y'all are holding on to each other and basically torturing yourselves in this relationship because y'all don't want to let it go. Just saying. That's how I'm reading it. Okay, so we get to the group session and Sean is excited that Brittany didn't catch her bus, but she drove herself to, Florida to her show so that they can go on their date. And he almost felt like driving her up there himself. And LaRonda was like, that is so ridiculous. Why would anybody drive to another state with somebody that they don't know? You sound crazy. Okay. She felt disrespected because he always wants to support everyone else, but where is the support for her? You know, Sean isn't going on a fourth date with Brittany because he wants to make sure he does not ruin his relationship with LaRonda, because LaRonda pays the bills. Bills. I don't think you do. Okay. Alexia enjoyed her date with Monty, so she's decided to go on another date with him. And Darian says that he has no problem. His fate told a different story. He was like, I mean, I think that's a good thing. You know, Jessica says she really enjoyed her date as well. And Eric says he's glad she had a good time and they're both, you know, trying to work towards their relationship. So he hopes that that's what she is in it for. And if that's the case, whatever she needs to do in order for them to get to their ultimate goal, he's cool with that. And everybody was congratulating him on not acting like a child in this moment. But I felt like what he was saying was what he's been told, not really what he feels. Darian, because I want to know, what's the ultimate goal here? Because do you really want to be married to this girl? Like, can we be honest with ourselves at some point? I'm just saying. Darian says that Kai was catching feelings and he doesn't know if he wants to go on another date. And he says that Alexia has asked him to not go on another date. And so that's why he's going to say no. And she's like, I did not ask you that. And he was like, you absolutely asked me that. And she's still kind of acting in the same way, where it's obvious that she's giving him low-key ultimatums. Like, okay, you can do what you want to do, but just know we're going to have a motherfucking problem, okay? And so even though Kai had a good time with Monty, Dr. Nicole wants Darian and Alexia to go on a date together. And she was like, not at this juncture, no. I'm not feeling that at this point. That's not what I want to do. And I don't think I'm going to do that. Nah. I think I'm going to refrain. I think I'm going to say no. I think I'm going to turn that opportunity down. I think that's not the way to go. She basically said, child, we ain't going on no motherfucking date. I'm straight off that. I'm good. I ain't feeling him like that. But, okay? I do think that Sean wanted Brittany for sure. But I do think he does not want to ruin his relationship with LaRonda because LaRonda provides so much mothering. And I don't know if Brittany has the time or the space to do that. Okay. Jessica, I feel like I don't know how to read her sometimes. If she really genuinely likes people or what, I don't know. But I definitely think that Alexia is seeing that this relationship with Darian is no longer serving her. And if she can possibly go out into the world and meet men like this, okay, I'm circling him with my mouse, but y'all can't see it. This young man, Monty, above her, if she can go out into the world and meet bald-headed men with beards who are like this, then she don't need to deal with this. She don't need to deal with this all my life. Been poor, but it really, oh, that's Nappy Roots. That's not Phil Mob. I'm sorry. Anyway, wrong group, nigga, wrong group. But yeah, y'all. It was a good episode for me. Let's go ahead and move on because we are an hour in, y'all, and we have got to talk about love and marriage, Huntsville. And I don't want to waste any time. So y'all know what to do. Right. we here? Okay. Hold on. Let me see. What am I doing? Am I moving it? No. Oh. All right. Are we in ready? Stop. Wait. Don't finish your statement. I know it. I know sick of being lonely. I'm so sick of being lonely every night while my man goes out with his homies. I need love. Okay. We're ready. We're about to get into Love and Marriage Until. So, episode starts off with Kimmy. Kimmy checks in with Maurice about the situation with Tisha. Okay, is she tripping or is it Tisha? We all know it's Tisha, but we understand sometimes you got to check with your man and see if you are being a little bit more difficult than you should be in the situation. She's constantly hearing Tisha talk about how she's a bad sister. Maurice says that she has to understand that Kimmy is going to be Kimmy no matter what. And Kimmy says, it's funny that you say that because I said to her, she expects me to be a different person for her. And she was like, well, yeah. And they both bust out laughing at the ludicrousy that Kimmy, as an adult grown ass woman with a grown son, should lie or change who she is so that Tisha can feel comfortable. Girl, get the hell out of here. girl, go and get the hell out of here with this. Okay, go and get away from me with this. Okay, is what you can do. All right, you sound crazy. So Maurice says that she might need to get to know Kimmy a little bit more. Okay, because no. Okay, so then we see Tisha and Marceau having this exact same conversation. First, they have to talk about the party and how it was drama free because it was Wanda free. Okay. And I thought it was funny that Tisha actually admitted that. I was like, you're admitting that your mother is messy and causes drama everywhere she goes? Can't believe it, Tisha. You usually like to live in a land of delusion about Wanda and all her drama. Okay. So then Tisha gets into she and Kimmy's issues. And she says that Kimmy brought it to her attention that, you know, you expect all this loyalty when it comes to the Mel situation. Mind you, you and Mel are cool again now, but we still want to be mad about Kimmy not choosing a side in said arguments. But either way, Kimmy brought it to her attention that when Kimmy was called a homewrecker by Kiowa, and it was said that she was having an affair. And mind you, Tisha did not say that it was said. Tisha said that when she was called a homewrecker and was having an affair with Maurice when he was still married, nobody came to her defense. And I was like, Tisha, are you continuing to put it out there that that's what happened? Is that what I'm to understand? Or did you just not articulate that well? Because it seems to me that you have on more than one occasion validated the idea that Kimmy was a homewrecker in some way. We saw it in the playback when you said it was against girl code, and we're seeing it again here now in what you said when you explained this situation to Marceau. Okay, Tisha says that she did give Kimmy her expectation of their relationship, so hopefully she can abide by that. If not, oh well. I was just like, who the fuck is Letitia talking to? Who is Letitia? Abide, bitch. Is it a friendship contract? Bitch, are you Cynthia Bailey? Is this Real Housewives of Atlanta? What is going on here? Abide? Y'all, that wording took me the fuck out because it's like Tisha has such a level of entitlement that I don't understand exactly. I don't understand it exactly. Oh my God. And then Marceau brings up how Tisha's brother questioned him about having an outside child. And he tells Tisha that if she had an outside child, he would forgive her. And I was like, why are you playing, Marceau? You get mad when people think that you may actually have an outside child, but you make comments that make people think you might actually have an outside child by telling your wife that you would forgive her, as if in turn you expected her to say that she would forgive you as well, making you feel more comfortable to eventually explain this to her. And then y'all, let me clock that Tisha said that if she found out he had an outside child on social media, she would leave him and take him for everything that he had. And I'm like, so if he told you in private and you knew before social media knew, then it would be different? Questions I have. Okay. But yes, it definitely continues to kind of have an air about it. Like we don't want to exactly throw that out the window just yet. We don't want to say, oh no, Marceau doesn't have an outside kid. I know that for a fact. We do not want to say that just as of yet. We don't. But yes, y'all, moving on to Martell. Martell goes to pick up the kids from Mel's house, and Mel is looking really good in this purple dress, but did we notice that Mel and Martell were matching? Martell had on a purple shirt that was the exact same shade of purple as Mel's dress. And I was like, are these new clothes, or did y'all have this beforehand? Did y'all have a conversation where y'all said, let's sync and make sure we're dressed? I was just like, what is this? Maybe it was by accident. Maybe it's just some kismet shit they still have where they, accidentally end up matching. Okay. And whenever they just pop up on screen in the same color. Okay. Oh, thank you. Y'all like my little LED light? I know I'm obsessed. So Mel wants to talk about boundaries and respect before he gets the kids. All right. And she brings up how, there are times when he says he's supposed to come get the kids, and 3 or 4 weeks will go by and he still hasn't come and get the kids. Okay. And he brings up how, well, what about when you say you're sick and I find out that you're in Atlanta somewhere, okay? And she kind of gets quiet, all right? But she then gets into how she's upset about him posting their daughter to announce his 5th outside child. And he says that he doesn't even understand how she knows what he's doing on his social media because he does not know what she's doing on hers. And she says, yes, you do, Martell. You absolutely know what's going on my social media. I'm like, yes, Martell, you absolutely know what's going on her social media. Stop bullshitting with us and yourself. Stop lying. You're lying. And then he says, and then the way you come at me, you come at me and you're cursing me out and you're all disrespectful. You can't talk to me like that. And she was like, well, you were very disrespectful to me on several different occasions. Okay. And then we start going through all of the interviews that she's done. The one she did with Dr. Heavenly, the one she did, not the interview that she did, that he did, okay? Because Dr. Heavenly did an interview with both of them, but he was on a Strawberry Letter with Steve Harvey. And then when she did her interview with Funky Dineva, he was calling to shut their interview down, okay? So she wants to get a counselor to help them co-parent, and he agrees to that, all right? So Mel goes inside to get the kids, and I guess there was a moment where he was outside and he knocks on the door to come back in, and Mel's mom, Vanessa, comes to the door and he forces a hug that Miss Vanessa did not want to give. Like I didn't want that. And she was just like, I have been hearing a lot of really ugly things going on, Martell Hope. Okay. And she says, but she doesn't want to get into it right now because he's there to get the kids. And he says, yeah, we don't need to talk about that because, there are times when I'm responding to certain things that are being said. And she says, save it. You can save it. We'll have a conversation later. And then he screams to the kids, hey, y'all, your grandmother just gave me the hand and I don't appreciate that. So y'all need to hurry up and come on downstairs. And she's like, why would you do that? And that's what I'm talking about, y'all. That's the type of shit I'm talking about with Martell. Why do you have to bring the kids into the bullshit with you? Why do you have to let it be known that grandma is not happy with you? They already know that things are contentious in the family right now. Why do you feel a need to bring the kids into it all the time? And then when we say you do that, you lie and say it's all Mel. But even on camera, you can't control yourself. I was just like, I cannot. Yeah, that definitely a gaslighting moment talking about she disrespected him. I also need for people to understand the difference between disrespect and the truth. Just because the truth makes you feel uncomfortable does not mean that it is disrespect. All right. So Maurice and Kimmy talked to Monster about what he's going to do for a summer job. And he wants to have his mom buy a sitting lawnmower so that he can ride around cutting other people's grass because he's not cutting the grass at Maurice and Kimmy's house. Okay. He also has picked the high school he wants to go to, and he talks to his dad and Kimmy about that. So they FaceTime Kiowa. And Kimmy has to announce that she's also in the room, but she mentions to Kiowa that they want to have a joint graduation party with Tisha and Marceau's son, Micah, and some of the other cousins. And Kiowa says that she would like for them all to get together and have a conversation because the last time they spoke, things did not go well. Okay, yes, last time y'all spoke, you called Kimmy a homewrecker. Kimmy says that she appreciates the extension and that she will make herself available when Kiowa comes to town. All right. At some point, Maurice had some off-brand joke that could have made that situation, be less than applicable. Which is sometimes why I feel like he's immature. Like, oh my God, Maurice, did you have to do that? Did you have to? You couldn't just let the moment be serious? You had to make the off-brand joke? Thanks for that. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on from there. I'm glad that they're getting that situation rectified. But here's the new girl. Okay, the new woman on the cast, her name is Tiffany, and Mel introduces us to Tiffany when she invites her to her office and asks her for her help in business, and they have conversation about personal things. So she met Tiffany in Women's Business Council, and she reached out to her to get some interns to help with Melanie S. Holt Incorporated. Okay. And they talk about how they both have gone through a divorce, and she feels inspired by Tiffany because Tiffany has made it to the other side. She divorced, and now she's newly married to a big, fine, chocolatey man that she married on somebody's baseball field. So it's real cute. Tiffany's going to bring something to the show. All right. And Melody also said something that I thought was really cool when she talked about how she's learning herself, and she'll post things on her stories whenever she learns something about herself that she feels like if she was still married, she would not know about herself. So I thought that was cool, but they have conversation about that, the business, and this is our introduction into her. Okay. So y'all remember, because she is going to come with the bullshit. You can already tell. Okay. So y'all, Martell goes to see Chris, y'all. Very, very crazy ass conversation that they have. Okay. So Chris is studying for his builder's license, and Martell comes and sits down and says that he failed that same builder's test for his license 7 years ago. And Chris is like, well, I guess we need to be studying together. Okay. He makes that comment. Martell kind of makes a face, but lets it roll off. Chris then explains that the builder who bought the 47 acres wants to work with Melody because Melody has the builder's license. I said, you mean to tell me the whole time y'all been doing this business, Mel is the only one that has the licensing to do so? And not only did you ruin your family, your wife, your children, like put them through this very traumatic experience of dealing with you cheating and then not wanting to take responsibility for it, and then getting the bitch pregnant and refusing to stop fucking her, and then bringing your children into it. And now we have this new baby. Like, you've done all of this, and you don't even have the fucking credentials to do any of this shit on your own. Yet anytime you feel the need to, you dress Mel down like she couldn't possibly have built this without you. Like she couldn't possibly have been in real estate and in building without you, but you could not even pass the test. I want y'all to let that sink in, that this man did not have anything that would make him self-sufficient. Yet he still decided to drive a fucking bulldozer over his family and then back over it, drive over it, and then back over it again. Like, I'm in amazement. Like, you really put all of this in jeopardy for some motherfucking head? For some head. And now you want Chris to put y'all's relationship, y'all's friendship ahead of the way he handles his business? Yes. It is a possibility that Chris might have suggested Mel, but so fucking what? As Mel will remind him, you might have met Mel through Martell, but at some point everybody became friends. And you can't afford to take care of your children financially, as you cry about later on in the episode. We'll get to that. So why are you upset that somebody wants to put more money in Mel's pockets when it is obvious you, again, do not have the credentials or the overall sustainability, the stability, okay, that it takes for somebody to want to go in business with you. You have blown up your entire life in the most ignorant way possible. And you think that people who are doing business are going to want to partner with you? See, that's the thing. You are falling apart, and Mel has retained her integrity in her business since this entire time by capitalizing off the situation, not only by being on the show, but continuing to form more business ventures and relationships thereafter. So the real estate company wants to do business with her because it's probably lucrative. And she was already on the deed. And she was already a part of the situation. So if we're going to give this opportunity to other Black folk, why not reach out to Mel Martell? Martell had every reason for why this was a betrayal on Chris's part, and how he's the one that brought this deal to the table. This was his idea, and Chris should never have went to Mel. He should always have come to the man first, because he would want to put money in Chris's pockets. Why wouldn't Chris want to put money in his pockets? Oh no, you want to work with my ex-wife. That's what you want to do. You want to work with my ex-wife. And Chris says, bro, let me put it simple to you. I worked my ass off to make this deal go through. Let me be clear, okay? That was me, all right? And once again, I am doing what the buyer asked me to do because Mel has what? The motherfucking licensing. And yes, you may know people, but why would they want to go and work with some people that they don't know by proxy when they can work with Mel who they already know? Come on, bruh. Y'all can tell that Martell is probably one of those people that got far in life just because he had Mel on his side this entire time. That's why he has nothing to show for it now that she's no longer there. And that's why when I tell y'all that marriage does not only benefit women, like this is a prime example of that. You know what I'm saying? Child, Chris was looking at Martell like, boy, bye. You can feel however you want to feel, but my business is going to come first, because my business is what keeps my family afloat. And my family and my situation is going to come before yours. And that's just that on that. Okay. So Mel and Martell meet up to have a co-parenting therapy session. And Martell is glad that they are going to another therapist instead of Dr. Francis, who he went to previously, because he felt like Dr. Francis was biased and that he was not relatable because he did not have a story of him ruining his family, so that Martell could relate to him and feel less fucked up. Martell wants to talk to someone who's going to make him feel like he's not so fucked up for what he's done. And the truth of the matter is that is not the case. Dr. Francis was your therapist. He only, from what we saw, met with Mel and Martell one time. The fact that you're upset that he was being honest with you just shows that you don't want someone to be honest with you. And let's be clear, this is not a therapy session to address your issues. This is a co-parenting situation so that y'all can be able to work together for the betterment of your children. Two totally different things, okay? They go into the counseling session and Martell insists that the children are fine and he doesn't want the children to talk to a therapist because he doesn't want the therapist to create an issue that's not there. Mel says, I think that's some ignorant Black people shit, so to speak, okay? Black people don't want to go to a doctor until it's the very last resort, okay? It's too late, all right? So she goes through the list. Okay, their son resents Martell for hurting her. Their oldest daughter has, retreated inside herself. The middle daughter is writing songs about feeling heartbroken. The children are feeling the hurt and the victimization of their family being broken apart and it happening on such negative, grounds. You know what I'm saying? Such a negative situation. So him having to listen to her say that, he then has to admit that the children have something that they need to resolve, obviously. All right. Mel brings up Martell not coming to get the children when they agree. And he says that financially things have been more difficult. And you can tell that he's not feeling his best. And he feels like that means he's entitled to just completely drop his responsibilities. And he gets emotional about that. The therapist didn't have tissue, which I found problematic. Martell says that when he cheated on Mel, and he didn't say this, but he said when she needed someone, I was there for her. When she was going through her thing, I was there for her. Now that we're going, we've divorced, I don't have anybody there for me. I'm like, sir, you were not the shoulder she leaned on when she was dealing with you cheating on her. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's the shit I be talking about. And still Mel sits here crying and upset because he's having a hard time. And then when she tries to console him, he pushes her off because he doesn't want to not be angry with her. Because the truth of the matter is, like she said in a confessional, he probably does want her back. He does want his children back, his family back. He says he only says that because of the kids. If they didn't have kids, he would not want her back. And I was just like, nigga, you lying. You want her back because she got the licensing. There are a whole bunch of reasons why you want Mel back. And you bullshitting in front of these cameras is not going to change that. Okay? But she explains to him that she understands how he feels because, like he said, when she was going through it, she wanted to just stop doing everything as well, but she couldn't. And he now has 5 children, so he can't afford to just stop being a parent because things are hard. That's not how real life works. And I appreciate her for saying that because I feel like so often men specifically, but adults period, feel like because they're going through something emotionally, that means that everything else has to take a back seat. And I'm one of those people that feel like, yes, take the time to deal with your emotions, but that does not mean that everything else implodes because of it. Like, I don't work like that. I don't. If I'm going through something emotionally, I will deal with that on the time that I have set out to deal with my emotions. When it's time for me to work, that is gone. That does not matter. When it's time for me to do whatever I have to do, regardless of how I feel about it, it has to get done. And that's what I'm saying. It's called responsibility. And that's what Mel was explaining to him. Okay, he got upset about that. Why are you saying that to me? Because he never likes to be told what to do. But the truth of the matter is you act like you don't know. So I have to tell you. Okay, child, when he said in the confessional that they would still be getting a divorce if he didn't cheat it, I was like, now you know your ass is lying. How much of this episode are you going to spend lying? Okay, I wonder how your girl feels. Okay, because he has not posted your child. He has not in any way, I feel like, probably shown up for her child the way he shows up for Mel's kids. Okay. And that's just based off of how he publicly shows off those kids, but not hers, as if he's still ashamed. They decide that they're still going to be a united front once the therapist explains that she's been through this, which Martell liked. And she basically explained that when her ex-husband had to explain his outside child to her child, she just had to sit there and be quiet and be of support, but allow him to steer the conversation, which is what Mel will have to do with Martell so that they can be a united front and it doesn't feel like there's a split. And they have to be a united front so that the kids can feel comfortable. Okay. And they agree on that. So they're both open. They leave on a positive note. When they get outside, Martell wants to talk about Chris. And he says he appreciates her for kind of sort of having his back. He doesn't understand why Chris thought that was cool to come to her about the 47 acres. And she was like, listen, it's not off the table for me. I just told him he needed to talk to you first. And he was like, why did you tell him that? Because I'm your ex-husband. And I'm the one that he should have talked to. And it should have been me because this was all my idea. And I'm the one that decided to do all of this. And you could not have done all of this without me and all of this. You know how he gets. And she says, listen, I don't see anything wrong with what Chris did, but don't let that, destroy the friendship. He's like, no, I'm not going to let that destroy the friendship or nothing like that. But I just feel like he needs to never do that shit again. I was just like, he needs to never do that shit again. Okay. And she's like, listen, I still might build the houses. Okay. Like he's going to send me the numbers and I still might do it, And he said, child, you ain't never built a house in your damn life. She said, Martell, don't go there. Because I've never seen you lay a door frame, put a brick down, okay, dig a hole, a trench, put in a pipe. I've never seen you do it at all. Okay, so don't come at me like that now. Okay, bye, Martell Holt. Okay, he was like, now why you got to do all of that? Why you got to say all that? You started it. Bye, Martell Holt. Yo, when she kept telling him bye, Martell Holt, that shit was taking me the fuck out. I was dying laughing, y'all. That shit was hilarious. Anyway, you guys, that was Love and Marriage Huntsville. I love this show. This show is so good. I really live for it. I really hope we get Mel on the ladies' first panel. I would love to have her on. Child, honestly, I would really like to have some of the men on too. They ain't gonna come, but I would like to have them on. But yeah, y'all, it was a really good episode. I don't want to hold y'all too much longer. It's 500 of y'all in the room. Thank you so much for coming and joining me and catching my tea. Okay, catching my situation that I got going for y'all and everything. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Yes. Okay, let me see what y'all saying. He don't want to talk about that fifth child, but he went out his way to talk about him under Milani's pick. That shows he was just trying to make her mad. Absolutely. Not only was he trying to make her mad, but the announcement I felt like was him using that child as a shield. Now Martell is allegedly with Lyric from Beyond the Pole. Child, I do not have time. I know he has another woman out here, so they say. But whenever I retrieve evidence of that, I'll let y'all know. Mel looks like she's going to enjoy being the best that ever happened to Martell. Okay? Yes. Okay? Yes. Absolutely. Okay? Because she has what? What does she have, everybody? What? The license, the credentials. Okay. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for coming on. I appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace out.